piece of legislation, which unfortunately Labor at this stage cannot support it going any further. And I'd like to cover the reasons off as to why. As my colleague previously mentioned before, we can see the absolute benefits as far as medical research and etc., vaccines and all of those things go. But where we have concern, and that is partly around the consultation process or lack thereof. The previous speaker talked about the fact that there'll be consultation will be able to be happening as part of the select committee process. But I would argue that before something as big and complex as this is developed, there should be far wider consultation before it even gets to this stage, before the bill is even completely developed. And in fact, Madam Speaker, there was some research done recently which showed 93% of the farmers that were surveyed thought it was important that there was widespread consultation with farmers. That has not happened, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we know that there are a wide and diverse range of views as far as this particular subject goes, and I would argue that that is particularly relevant as far as the horticultural sector goes. There is some real concern out there within that sector as to what this could mean for them. And Madam Speaker, if we think about those that are growing organically, what happens if we have some sort of a crop or something that flowers and then contaminates a property nearby that is organic? Who pays for that happening? What will there be insurances taken out for those who are responsible for that in order for them to have to pay compensation? Is there going to be additional costs for those organic growers to have to go through and show that they continue to comply and be organic farmers? Madam Speaker, I also want to touch on some of the information that we have seen in this RIS, the RIS that is put together with advice for the Minister. There is a lot of concerns that were raised, particularly around the lack of being able to consult widely. They were only able to do some specific targeted consultation, and I just think that that's really irresponsible when we're looking at a piece of legislation that means that our farmers and our growers and others are going to have to just put up with whether they choose it or not. It's going to be out there. And Madam Speaker, yes, I can understand and see the benefits as far as research and innovation goes when we think about reducing our methane targets and all those kinds of things. I absolutely understand and get that, but the crux of the matter is that there is lack of consultation, Mr Patterson, the lack of consultation from all those relevant in the sectors, and it should be done well before the select committee process, Mr Patterson. The other thing, that's not consultation on this particular piece of legislation. The consultation, they talk about their election and the campaigning, and they campaigned on it, but you didn't campaign on the details, did you, Mr Uffindell? You didn't campaign on the details. You didn't campaign on the potential risks to our trade, which I know that my colleague, the Honourable Damien O'Connor, is going to speak to, because there are some serious implications. And the one other thing that I would like to highlight, Madam Speaker, was they're going to establish a Māori advisory committee. As far as I can tell, Madam Speaker, this is simply tokenistic, absolutely tokenistic, because reading this RIS, they talk about that the proposals alter the status quo by placing a duty of decision makers to manage adverse effects to Māori kaitiaki relationships with specific species, instead of requiring them to take into account te tiriti principles more generally. Given time and scope constraints, officials did not analyse a wide range of options on how to best protect Māori rights and interests. They also gave different options to ministers, which they chose not to give Māori the opportunity to have decision making in this process. We do not support this, Madam Speaker.
Dr.
Hold on a minute. She was with Labor, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, she's with Labor. Didn't the previous Labor speaker say we're going to be supporting this bill?
No, he didn't say anything along those lines at all.
I'm pretty
Like,
sure.
you were supporting the select committee process, but
oh right, yeah. I was going to say, it's like, hold on a minute. It's like
yeah, which
okay,
which I mean, yeah, there's quite a few bills where we don't support the bill, but we look forward to dealing with it at select committee.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, that makes sense. So, okay, so the overall theme I'm getting here is that people don't have an issue so much with CRISPR technology. People have got an issue with lack of consultation, potential business impacts, economic impacts, but the technology itself is not so much the problem.
Yeah, and if you see a public consultation is called select committee process.
Yeah, I really.
If you weren't focusing on the theme, you can actually focus in on his words. Yeah,
I know that was really dismissing of him. I really do wish that farmers were consulted about this prior to the bill being announced. And
I've seen in the comments in here, someone wants to make Tauranga to be an ACT seat after the next election.
Okay. Good luck.
Well, it's one they could win.
Yeah.
I mean,